right, folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents episode 2 of our conference preview 2025 in season 5. It's Mike with EJ. How's it going, pal?
It's going great. As we had mentioned before, this
Mm-hmm.
is our second recording of the night,
Mm-hmm.
um,
End of the
and
season. Yep. Mm-hmm.
end of the season, and it's great to be thinking about football again.
We're just between friends now. It's just us friends. And people listen to the first episode and we're like, why you guys like Georgia Tech so much? I hate you. And they're just like, screw it. We're not coming back for the SEC. But you know what? You guys miss it because now EJ and I are wearing the same shirt. If you're watching on YouTube, we are now matchy.
Yeah.
And I'm also getting drunk. So uh
Just in time to talk about his favorite team and the conference they reside in.
yeah, I can't wait. And the my favorite team, plural, and the teams I hate the most. So I'm super excited about this. And I tell you what, there's a lot of conflict for me in this comp. Oh, we when we were together earlier today, we started to talk about it. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, we have to stop talking about it because I can't say anything else because we got to save it for the podcast. But there is a lot of personal conflict for it, it's very much head versus heart. Like my heart hates some of these schools, but my head's like, you know what? Math's just there. These teams, you're gonna want to put some money on them to do big things this year. Tough, tough conference to predict. Our first, when you look at the Power Four era, obviously SEC, Big Ten are kind of above and beyond the remaining conferences. And boy, I think they're going to show it this year for sure. For sure. I think there's a lot of teams in here that are there's gonna be a lot of pesky teams coming out of the SEC. I'll say that. I will say that much, Edmund. Am I as a Big Ten guy? You as a Big Ten guy? Am I on an island with this take, or am I on the money?
Uh, Truthfully,
Mm-hmm.
I
Always Big
think there are going to be now, mind you, this is okay. So I think the SEC could have some fun depth, like
A lot of
fun
fun depth.
competition, fun
Pesky.
depth.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Big Ten is top heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think there's another conference that I'm going to have more fun watching collectively. Now, I don't think any of them are going to threaten a national championship, but I think I'm going to enjoy watching another conference more than the Big Ten this
Mm.
year.
Well,
SEC to be determined. I don't
listen,
know.
everyone
I
loves
always
the
just
Mac.
hate
Everyone loves the Mac, EJ. Like I get it. Like, yeah, of course, we all love the Mac. It's fine.
like even just scrolling through something like this Pick Six preview and seeing where he has like overall rankings
Mm.
with the SEC, and
Yeah.
it's just like I don't know.
Right.
Every year this happens where you have preseason rankings that go into the strength of schedule. But if you start preseason ranked high, then clearly you're going to end it higher than you would if you weren't. I personally think there should be no preseason rankings, and I know like the playoff doesn't come out with rankings until a certain point, but let's not act like they don't take into account rankings prior to that when it comes to strength of schedule, right? Which I think is a bunch of dog
Well,
shit,
it's
to be
it's
honest with
also
you,
it, it
because
it's also even harder to like you really have to have these conferences playing each other during the year because
yes.
bowl games are even hard to determine like who's the superior conference when people sit out, So, I mean, Grand,
Yeah,
well,
yeah, Yeah, I can think of that just notion of, and the SEC's still refusal to play 9 conference games because it's such a hard conference. Okay, well, think beyond the tops that have won national championships. It's pretty well documented that the SEC is pretty mid even before the people sitting out of bowl games. It was pretty mid against other conferences in bowl games.
Well,
So
because
take that for what it's
that's
worth.
their
But
Super Bowl. They get fired up for it.
it doesn't matter. I just don't believe. Like I'm scrolling through here, and I'm sorry, I don't believe that the 11th team ranked in the SEC is the 33rd overall, or the 10th team is a top 25. I don't think there's 10 SEC schools that are truthfully top 25 in the nation. I
Well,
don't.
well,
I'm
I'll
sorry.
say this: his number 11th ranked team, I would certainly have at least 10th, maybe up into a tie for 8th. So I
I
just say
just yeah. Some of these it gets a bit much for me, truthfully. But unless they start playing like forcing conferences to play equal, like I finished fifth last year, so I play the fifth ranked, in another conference. Until that happens, it's always going to be an SEC bias, but I don't always buy into it, to be honest with you.
that.
And I think they shouldn't get to play Jacksonville State or Samford on week 12. I
That
think that's a
is
bunch of bullshit.
understandable as a hater and Big Ten fanboy. Your stance is understood and acknowledged. With that being said, would you like to kick us off on contenders, or would you like
Sure.
for me to kick us off?
No, I will say full context. I was telling Mike previously, we've obviously gone through and we've looked at a lot of these conferences, through this pick six preview. And SEC was last just because it's alphabetical. That's the only reason why it was last for me. And it was the one that I took the least amount of notes on. So I read, but I didn't take notes. So the first team is someone that I actually did take notes on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great way because I have a pretty good idea who I'm going to put in the championship. But like you said, this is a plucky SEC. This is a more open SEC than it's been potentially in a while because of a lot of the question marks at quarterback. And maybe I'm foolish to really be I don't know, hard headed on wanting it a quarterback that has experience. But I feel like it's been pretty
Mm-hmm.
proven time and time again that teams that have new shiny quarterbacks, even if they have great teams, aren't the ones that end up holding the trophy at the end of the year.
It's a
So
tale
there's a
as
few
old as time,
exceptions.
song as
Right.
old as rhyme. Hey, before you dive in though, just to give folks a quick reminder, last year our picks, I picked Georgia over Texas to win the SEC. And you picked, I think Georgia over Texas. Just looking, we actually didn't write it down, but looking at our playoffs, I'm pretty sure, based on where everyone ranked, I picked Georgia over Texas because I had Georgia as the number one overall and Texas at 5. Do you remember who you picked to win the SEC last year? You also had them beating Texas.
Did I have Brian Kelly? Did I have the guy that killed
No,
someone?
no, no. You had
Uh,
Ole Miss.
oh, that's right. I did believe in the
Mm-hmm,
lane train.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're all aboard the lane train.
Yeah.
You had them number one overall.
Well, if you were wondering, they're pretty highly rated here, apparently. They're the number 19th one in the league.
Portal King, baby.
Yeah, Portal King. Last year was his chance.
Yeah, yeah, we agree on
We'll get into that a little further in this preview, but there's one.
that's what we call a
Listen,
sizzler, folks.
there was one thing I didn't truthfully take to heart, and I should have, was Pete goddamn Golding. And I didn't take it to heart because you can be jaded very quickly in every sport, by people that do not perform.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Well, let me just open up the bourbon now. You motherfuckers. I
however,
cannot believe
you might
that
have been
name
onto
just came
something.
out of your mouth. Cannot believe that name just came out of your mouth.
Um,
Oh boy.
yeah.
Oh boy. I'm living in Ryan Grubland. You went ahead and just Oh wait, well, defense. No,
Yeah.
Pete Golding is the fucking worst. The absolute fucking worst. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna just pour some more bourbon in there. Ah,
Yeah.
you son of a bitch. I used to have Kirby Smart as a defensive coordinator. Alabama Crimson Tide used to have Kirby Smart, and then we went to Pete fucking Gold.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm. Okay, go ahead. You go first. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Hook 'em is where we start.
Yes,
So
actually,
go ahead, plop around.
yeah.
Oh, look at that! Look at that beauty of a hat there. Mike has. Is
Cordu-
that a corduroy?
Corduroy, Los
Yep.
Longhorns, they Tay House. Shout out Howard Brothers.
Yep.
All kinds of free ads on this show.
Texas. So Texas is an interesting team. Obviously, they were very successful last year, came up short ultimately in their hunt for a national championship, but really kind of proved that they were back and unfortunately ran into the buzzsaw that was Ohio State
Mhm.
anyway. And they totally sandbagged people the entire year. So
Yep.
as far as moving forward this year, biggest headline is Archman look out of place. Mind you, it wasn't against the best competition, but he definitely flashed in the pass game. He has
In
wheels
the
that
run game.
right. He has to say he has wheels that shouldn't be on a Manning, which is shocking. Unless Cooper just has wheels, and we just haven't
Cooper's a
seen it.
wide
Yeah.
receiver, dude. He has the juice. He has the juice for sure. Yeah.
So bring in you have Arch Manning, and that's a big deal because not only is he just highly touted and whatnot, but he did get some game experience last year. Obviously, sat an entire year for the learning the scheme, and now it's his show. You couple that with Wisner, the running back, who uh, took over because the highly recruited and touted CJ Baxter got unfortunately hurt, didn't play at all last year, which sucked. But Wisner played well in his absence, and they get both of them back.
Hmm.
Now, I'm pretty sure Baxter is still rehabbing. I don't know what his status. I probably would. Well, I mean, I already told you my context with the SEC, but it's probably something I should have looked at. But from what I understand, it's hopefully not going to be an issue. He will come back, and that's going to be a big boost, not only to have the guy that played well in his absence, but to have this other like really potential blue chip guy that could be a complete game changer in the run game for them. They lose Matthew Golden, which went to Green Bay. We'll see if he ends up being as good as the Packers fans hope he is. But they do return his number two and DeAndre Moore. And then Texas is, you're going to hear this a lot in this preview, is when these SEC schools, especially at the top, have lost players, they're replacing them with blue chip guys. It's just a matter of experience, right? So will these guys end up being, the Ryan Williams and the Jeremiah Smiths? I don't know, but they have the potential to be very good. So the receiving room, again, they bring back the number two, so he has experience, but then they're filling the rest of them with guys that haven't really played as much, but they're blue chip guys.
Yeah.
And then Gunnar Helm is a big loss at tight end, but they did sign an all ACC tight end and Jack Endries to compete with a 4-star kid. So they probably shouldn't have a big drop off there. I think the biggest question mark is their offensive line. So even though
Blue
they
chippers
had
though. Yeah. They're
Kelvin
pathetic.
Banks was an All American and got drafted. Truthfully, they underperformed, right? They really didn't run the ball very well with them. They didn't pass protect, which then when you consider how far they got, it's kind of mind boggling because their offensive line didn't play well, and they're replacing four of them. And honestly, from my point of view, maybe that's a good thing, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
wasn't
Yep.
like, while most times you're like, replacing four, that's not great. This was an offensive line that was uber talented on paper that didn't quite get it. So
Yeah.
then again, you're replacing these guys with 4-star, 5-star, really blue chip players. So it's a question mark, but honestly, it wasn't great last year, and they still got to where they got to.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the offensive line looks like. But again, they're replacing. They have a lot of these younger players like DJ Campbell is the number one ranked lineman in the 2022 class. Like
Mhm.
now, it's finally his turn. You're kind of getting to the point where Sarkeesian is kind of dynasty mode with some of these classes, right? Recruiting
Mhm.
classes, and now some of these recruiting classes are getting to their upperclassmen years, where you start to see some of these dividends paid. And then on defense, they completely flipped the switch from pretty meh in 2023 to one of the best in 2024. And they lose, I think it was a five starters to the draft, but still get to keep the other was at six, and then they're replacing the five with again blue chip players, either blue chip guys that haven't played or transfers that are all conference and other Power Four conferences. So it's still looking pretty damn good for
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just you kind of look at their schedule and it's don't get me wrong, they start off with Ohio State. Well, that's a big one considering Ohio State coming off the national championship and replacing their own fair share of things, including quarterback. Um, they do have Georgia this year, A&M, Florida, Oklahoma,
Yeah.
obviously Oklahoma
Yeah.
every year. It's a tough schedule, so they're going to earn it.
Certainly. Yeah.
But I do like their chances so far, and it's probably going to come down to can Stark not get in his own way, right? We talked
Yeah.
about it a little bit accidentally in the ACC preview where it just seemed like Sark kind of, or maybe we didn't talk about it there, but we talked about it in person today. Everything's kind of blurring together, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he Texas got in their own way a few times last year, and
Yeah.
if they don't do that, then they have a great chance this year.
Yeah, it's definitely now or never. I agree with everything you said. It is now or never for the Longhorns. They're either back now or they never will be. Over 9.5. Their win total on FanDuel is set at 9.5. Over is -196. Under is +158. Very interesting there because they do have a tough schedule.
Mhm.
I think it's good that they're getting Ohio State to start the year. Definitely better to get them at the beginning than it is to get them later, that's for sure. Though they do have a pretty tough schedule in the middle there at Florida. Then you have Red River at Kentucky, at Mississippi State, which nah, and then Vanderbilt at home, which is like not that's a lot of road games, I think is the only thing I would say. And like honestly, Florida, we'll talk about them later, but at the swamp is always tough. Yeah, I mean, they your offensive line points very well made. They have to get better in the red zone. They're ranked number 120 in 2023, number 54 in 24. So like obviously that's a pretty big jump from 120 to 54. Uh, Never forget when they were playing Oklahoma in Red River in 23 and they lost that game and they went for it on fourth down like for four times and they just kept the first three times they kept bringing this stupid dive with their defensive tackles in. Just throw that whole portion of the playbook away. When you are at the
Yeah.
1 yard line and you're bringing just don't those defensive tackles don't touch the field. Like get that just completely out of there. Blue chippers all over the place. Like anywhere they have to replace, it is a blue chipper because they had the number one recruiting class last year, four straight top fives. Just the wide receiver names are who's who of anyone who spends way too much time looking at the life of high school kids. Ryan Wingo, Lockett, French, McCutcheon, Livingston. The guys, they're just studs at wide receiver the past several years. Um, Wisner showed he was the dude last year for sure at running back. If Baxter's on the men, great. Offense going to be reload. Arch, obviously, it's Arch. What more can I say? On defense, in 2024, they were according to Pick Six previews, their opponent adjusted ranking, number two defense overall, and opponent adjusted rank. That's huge. Um, they this is insane. Didn't realize this. They let up four passing touchdowns in the regular season. Now they're returning 62% production, which is like right on the on the good side of the bell curve where you want to be. Like it's right in the middle. Um, Closer to the better side. But anyone that they're losing, blue chippers, and my cousin Anthony Hill, first round linebacker for sure in the upcoming draft. Not actually my cousin, but still. Yeah, I'm gonna take their over wins, and I have. Give me a ticket for them to win the Natty. SEC championship. They have the best odds to win the SEC championship at plus
Yeah.
280. Very at plus 280.
Wow. Yeah, that
Folks,
just shows you how wide open it is.
yeah, folks, you gotta you gotta just put a sprinkle on that. Or more than a sprinkle actually. Yeah, yeah, I don't even agree with the number two team. The number three team, hammer time on that. And definitely, like we said last time, people, anyone who's a contender, like Clemson, do yourself a favor, make some free money, multi-leg parlay with at least Clemson and Texas to end up in the playoff. That's two good legs right there. They can get you some good value and then build around it. And another team to include in that multi-leg parlay to end up in the playoff is my second contender in the SEC. EJ, anything else on Texas before I move on?
Go ahead.
Okay,
Church.
hold on a second. Hold on. Just give me a minute here. I need to pour some more Topo Chico, which has my wife told me has a lot of forever chemicals in it. Fine, whatever. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger and may eventually kill you. So let me get a nice little sip here of this Topo Chico. Hear that? Nice little fizz. Mm. Topo Chico with fresh lemon wedges. Incredible drink. All right, let me just put in, get nicotine up for this. Putting in my nicotine pouches. Big sip of whiskey now. Big one. Mm. Texas hats off. Hawaii hats coming back on. Folks, folks, I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. Blitz, Bama, Blitz. The entire NCAA is in for big trouble this year. 69% returning production on defense, number three recruiting class, 5 years in the top three of recruiting. We got Ryan fucking Grubb coming back from the NFL, paired up with the Boar to be his boy to run this offense. Let's not forget Washington's offense. Not only that here. This blew my dick clean off. This is worth the price that you pay for Pick Six previews. Washington, Grubb and DeBoer's offense at Washington not only led the nation in explosive plays, but they also led the nation in the most 10 plus play scoring drives since University of Southern California in 2004. That was a pretty good team. That was a pretty good team. They did at Washington. Think of what they're going to do with all this talent that they have here in Tuscaloosa. Ty Sims is going to get the start. We know that. We know that, folks. Ty Sims is going to get the start. But you know what? You got Austin Mack, the University of Washington recruit. Why Julian Sand flipped to Ohio State from Alabama is because Ryan Grubb and really Kalen DeBoer said, "I'm bringing in Mack. He's my guy. I love him." But you know what? Screw Ty Simpson and screw Austin Mack, honestly, because we have the 5-star, the number two overall recruit, Keelan Russell. He's come in. He's gonna be the guy. He is gonna be the guy. The truth, the way, and the light. Wide receiver. You had 6 guys transfer, but you know who didn't transfer? Ryan fucking Williams. Human highlight reel. It ain't it fun? Ain't It Fun? He loves that song by Paramore. Went crazy on TikTok. Ain't It Fun? It is super fun to watch Ryan Williams do Ryan Williams things. Jeremy Bernard's back. The 6'4" transfer, Isaiah Horton from Miami. He's coming to town too. Jam Miller's back. Offensive line needs to get better, but that's okay. That's fine. Offensive line was dog shit last year. The only place to go is up. On defense, we're talking about a veteran union. You talk about a lot of guys returning here. Who we got? We got Keenan, we got Latham, we got Overton. You got five defensive backs returning. Deontay Lawson's back. You got a couple blue chippers and Pierre Carter. No Carter. Gonna be a guy. Gonna be the best guy since Dallas Carter line back in there. 11-1 over wins. I don't even know what their win total is. What is their win total? It doesn't matter. I'm taking it. Let me see. Plus 470 to win the SEC. Definitely taking that. Let's see. What is their win total? 9.5 minus 110. That's what we call free money. Under 9.5 is also minus 110. But we're definitely taking the over for them to get over 9.5 wins. Folks, the Crimson Tide, they're going to be a problem for teams this year. They're going to be a big problem for teams this year. We'll see in Atlanta for the at the Superdome. Or is it Superdome? Mercedes-Benz Superdome? No, wait, hold on. Do they call it the Superdome? No. Well, what's just Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Whatever. We'll see ya. Superdome's also Mercedes-Benz. We'll see you Atlanta for the SEC championship. We'll see you Atlanta for the Natty. Alabama, roll tide, roll, dude. We are we are back. Not like Texas. We are actually back. Roll tide. Blitz, Bama, blitz. Don't give a piss about nothing but the tide. Let's go. Let's go, EJ. Tell me how I'm wrong.
So on to the next contender. I think this is where you with the SEC, this is where you start for me the unknowns, right? And it starts at
Oh, wait,
quarterback.
hold on. Wait. You're skipping over the tide?
No.
Oh,
I,
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I,
I'm
I thought
not
you were
skipping.
totally skipping over them.
I think they should very
I just poured
deservedly
my heart
be
out
a
here.
they should be a contender absolutely. For a lot of what you said. So you not only have a second year DeBoer, getting Ryan Grubb back is huge, right? The fact that he didn't get him, which made sense, right? He went pro. But to get him to come back, that's a big bump because that offense at Washington
Big bump.
was great. And DeBoer with while there's always questions about him long term, you're not there yet, right? Because at Fresno State, he inherited an NFL quarterback. At Washington, he inherited, or he didn't inherit, but he very luckily found a transfer that was already familiar with the system that is an NFL quarterback. And now Jalen Milroe was an NFL quarterback. We'll see how good he ends up being in the pros.
Not
But
not good.
there's
So bad,
longer term
actually.
question marks on him as far as he hasn't stayed long enough to like build a program per se, right? He's kind of been on the back of other recruits from previous coaches, but in the here and now, I mean, there's no denying how good of an offensive mind he is, along with Grubb. Again, Alabama's also always a team that has blue chippers. Ryan Williams is ready to be a pro. If he didn't have to stay 3 years, same with Jeremiah Smith, he wouldn't. And Jeremy Bernard, familiar with him because he was a Spartan at one point, is a fantastic number two to Ryan Williams, and as you mentioned, I'm sure there's a million 5-star guys or 4-star guys because Ohio State takes all the 5-star receivers. Right behind them for the number three. Biggest question mark is their offensive line, which was not very good last year and now is returning even more. See another Spartan on this list. Van de Mark is potentially one of the guards. I think that's probably the biggest question mark, right? I think the offense and quarterback, but I don't know. That's the thing. It's like in my head, objectively, the fact that Ty Simpson couldn't beat out Milroe is a problem for me. And then, but you're not even excited about Simpson. You're excited about the kid, but he's a kid, right? So it's hard for me,
Ryan
even
Williams
though
is good. Ryan Williams is good.
you're right. That's what I mean. So Keelan Russell could just be that guy, and maybe he isn't to begin with, but by the end of the year, he is. Um, and so that's a big deal. And then on defense, I the defensive line is going to be nasty. I think there's questions in the linebacking core and the secondary just because
Never
of
been a problem.
right
Never been a problem.
because of just people leaving, very good players leaving to the pros. But again, it's just like similar. We're going to talk about Georgia next, likely. Like they're
Yeah.
replacing them with guys that have talent. It's just they haven't
That's
necessarily put it on the field yet. So yeah, no, I think Alabama, while I've very much been in the down slope of Bama the last couple of years, even though they're zombie and don't die, I think this year, especially with the SEC kind of in the most, I don't want to say turmoil because they're good teams, but just like there isn't a clear alpha dog. Really, I mean, even Texas, I don't feel like 100% confident saying they're going to just dog walk everyone. No, I think Alabama definitely deserves to be in this conversation.
yep. Yep.
And then that just goes to Georgia. So then it's okay, Georgia. Next is another blue blood program breaking in a new quarterback. So Gunnar Stockton uh, got a little bit of playing time. I don't remember where he played. Did he have to play in the Notre Dame game?
He did. He did play in the Notre Dame
That's
game.
right. Okay. And it just kind of went as you expected, right? It was very good Notre Dame defense, but it was a young kid, and they probably, maybe had the training wheels on a bit because it's a lot to expect out of a kid, no matter how high his pedigree is. Not everyone can come in the second half of a national championship game and win. Shout out, Tua Tagovailoa, and then the guy he replaced also has turned out to be, pretty
Pretty
pretty solid,
good. Love
pretty solid
hurts,
in the
baby.
league.
Love hurts.
So yeah, so I think that's the biggest question mark. But then you get beyond that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, um, the biggest problem with Georgia this last 2 years, or even in their national championship year, they just had like a defense that you weren't going to score on regardless, unless you had Jamison Williams before he got hurt. But we won't go there again. Is position players. They've not had very good. They've had like a position player that's been fantastic, right? They had Brock
Mm.
Bowers, Lad McConkey, but they, Betson or Stetson Bennett,
Stetson Bennett. Yep.
it was just kind of okay, but
Yeah.
he had a couple of weapons, but this is kind of returning back to form. Getting Zachariah Branch, the transfer from USC, huge, huge. That dude is electric. If they
Noah
can use him
Thomas from A&M
correctly,
too. Yeah.
right, Thomas. And so then you couple a short electric in get the ball in his hands kind of player with a 6'6", go up and get it kind of guy.
Mm.
That's fantastic. Last year, I remember I remember not knowing what year Nate Frazier was. I wouldn't have told you he was 18. I'll tell you that. But that dude, I mean, again, I'm sure there's other you can look through. I'm sure there's other 4 or 5 star guys ready to be the third receiver in that. It doesn't matter because Nate Frazier's a fucking dog. Like at 18, looked like he
A
was in the
man.
NFL,
A
right?
man.
Like,
Yeah.
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 And Little obviously split it with ETN, who was also a very good running back. But Frazier, anytime he touched the ball, you could just see the potential. And like I
Yeah.
said, I would have guessed he was a junior. No chance I would have said he was a true freshman.
ETN and Frazier may be the best 1-2 at running back in the entire NCAA this year.
Yeah. So adding those guys, and obviously Frazier's going to probably get more touches than he did last year, which is just even going to be a better thing.
But offensive line,
Yep, that's the biggest for me. That's what I
their reliability last year, number 65 in run push, according to our friend over at Friends Multiple over at Pick Six Previews.
but you could see it, right? Georgia
Yeah.
didn't look quite right, and on offense, especially when Bowers wasn't playing. Or I guess last year he wasn't on the team, right? Because he was on the Raiders already. But it's just like you could just tell the offense wasn't right. And it was
Yeah.
like once they got a couple runs here and there, and obviously the running backs were fantastic, but the offensive line didn't look great. A couple with Beck not being a good quarterback, shocker. And now they're replacing three of those guys.
Hmm.
So that's a big question mark. Again, it's not like they're not filling the spots with these, top 100 players and whatnot, but it's just it's inexperience. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to come out of there, and that's not necessarily a positive thing. And then you get to the defense, and you worry less about the defense, even though again they're replacing a lot of first round picks and just draft picks entirely, but they're replacing them with fantastic either players that have already been successful at big programs, or they're replacing them with you know top recruits
Blue
that are
chip
it's their
talent.
turns,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like CJ Allen is a linebacker that's supposed to be the next Naquan Smith, N'Kobe Dean, Jalen Walker. They're never gonna hurt for players. It's just again, I mean, they lose both of their starters in the at the safety room. But I remember KJ Bolden because the Spartans tried to go after him, and he's from Georgia, which is never going to happen. But I mean, he was a 5-star kid. Probably, if he's 5-star, he's top 15 in his class. Like now, it's his turn, right? And then they get, battle tested, experienced transfers from Miami and USC. Yeah, I think the defense is going to be good as well because it's also Kirby Smart, and you can have your qualms with him if you want, but defense is not something you're ever going to have qualms with.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I put with Georgia is just potential, right? I
Yeah,
mean, they are returning 42% of their offensive production, which is 105th ranked, which is bad, and
but that might not be a
51%.
bad thing for them, right? That's the
Well,
thing.
right, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's potential, right?
All right.
Like they have blue chippers that are coming in, but still 42% return production on offense, 51% return production on defense. Those are not great numbers. But you have all these blue chip guys coming in. I the biggest question for me, can they get better as the year goes on? Because they did not last year. They
Mm,
definitely did not get better as the year went on last
no.
year. I mean, 2024, their defense, that was honestly a bad year for them. And they still had 7 guys go to the draft.
Right.
So, you know, I think that there's a lot. The biggest thing for them, I'd rather play Georgia in September than I would in November. That's just assuming that they get better. They have to. Um, they're a massive question mark for me. That's the reason why I have Texas and Alabama um, over Georgia, like still in the contender tier, um, but just below them by a decent margin because there's a lot of things that we just have to see. And it all starts with Garner Stockton, who I don't know. I mean, he's going to have a lot of, they're going to have a good run game for sure. Just based on the running back talent. But man, that offensive line does have to get better to give him time. So we'll see. Georgia's going to be very interesting team this year. Very interesting. So yeah, and that honestly for me, oh, I don't know. I was gonna say rounds out contenders. I guess everyone else would be in dark horse territory or
Okay.
pretender territory.
Okay.
Um, let's
Let's
start with
let's go pretenders.
yeah. You don't have any more contenders. We agree. The 3 contenders are Texas, Bama, Georgia. Pretenders, I'd love to start us off here.
Go ahead.
Absolutely would love to. Yeah, let's talk about let's have a talk about the family and how I think that they're breaking up. I told you earlier today, I think that there's going to be a head coach search coming up in Baton Rouge. Um, Brian Kelly last year, he was an angry elf. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. The offense struggled mightily, especially the rushing game. They did have the number one transfer portal haul. They what did they get? The number three and number nine wide receiver, number two and number four off interior offensive lineman, number two, number four, and number 14 defensive lineman, and the number three and number four safeties. Great haul in the transfer portal for them. Garrett Nussmeier, he's going to get the rock. He's going to ball out. Rushing game does have to improve. Kane Durham's coming back. He's pretty strong. Harlem Berry, first team all name, also the number one overall running back in 2025. He's coming in. And they also have JT Lindsay, who was number three, I believe. Um, Chris Hilton's back at wide receiver. You got Aaron Anderson back too. You got the speedster Barry and Brown coming in the transfer portal along with Nick Anderson. The question is, can those guys that they get in the transfer portal can they stay healthy and return to form? A lot of uncertainty at offensive line. They are relying on transfers and blue chippers. I mean, this is where when you rely so heavily on the transfer portal, like it looks really good on paper. I just that Cale Williams USC team on paper they look great. They looked awesome. Can they make it work? Um, Blake Baker, second year defensive coordinator. He does get the second year boost here to come in. Five of their front seven starters do return, but the secondary is brand new, and it just can't be worse than last year, right? At least if you're a Tigers fan, you hope it can't be worse than last year because, buddy, that offense or that defense got gashed last year, and the offense was way too good for them to be getting gashed like that. Um, for me, LSU's a team that looks great on paper, but when you look at some of those advanced stats, they're 51 out of 68 on win conversion. So I just question Brian Kelly's ability to develop his guys. Um, is a decent schedule, but I think if they hit some adversity, I think of Brian Kelly from last year. Like when they hit adversity, I don't think he was a very good leader. He doesn't handle it well. I think if they have some troubles, they are gonna crumble and fold, and there's gonna be a head coach search in Baton Rouge. So that is why I am. It gives me plenty of joy to say that I think LSU is a big time pretender in the SEC this year. I would consider taking under their win total if I can figure out what it is.
Um, so
Under eight and
I
a half, I'll take that.
I
Eight
agree
wins.
that
Yeah.
I don't think they're a contender, but I don't know that they're in Fire Brian Kelly. I don't know that they're in that territory for me. I do think like Nussmeier can throw the ball really well.
Mhm.
And even though they didn't maybe score as much points as they should have, they did move the ball. I think it was more of an issue of like finishing drives. So I think him, along with a very talented receiving room, um, is gonna be. I mean, the pass protection last year was really great. I think you're gonna probably get another, even though they're replacing offensive linemen. I think it's gonna be probably solid enough for the offensive or that the offense to still throw the ball well. Skeptical that they're gonna fix the run game, which can only get you so far, right? So that's why even in the defense, like I think they are they have a decent amount of starters returning, like you mentioned, obviously replacing the secondary. I think like someone like Perkins, who had like an all SEC freshman year, had a terrible year last year. I think they're figuring out what position is like area of the defense is best for him. And I think he'll excel again. So I think like I just I think Nussmeier is going to be a Heisman candidate. I think they're still going to sling it well. I think their defense still has too many question marks. And the offensive line is enough to at least keep them out of a contender. I don't know that they're going to be like fire Bryant Kelly bad. I think they'll be somewhere in the middle, but I don't see them as like a serious threat. But I could see them. Okay, I guess it depends on what you think it's going to take to get him fired. So is it 4 or 5 losses for LSU? Is it not even making a bowl? I think they're making a bowl. Um,
Oh, they're gonna make a bowl.
yeah, I don't think it's going to be catastrophic. I think they're probably closer to, a 3 loss team than they are a 5 loss team in my eyes. But it's tricky.
The
That Clemson
schedule,
game is going to be very revealing because if
Clemson's,
they
yeah,
struggle, then I don't feel great about them at Bama, right? I
yeah,
mean, I probably don't
yeah.
feel great about that at Bama anyway, and then I don't feel great about them at Oklahoma. So that's already 3. And if they really struggle, then it's like, okay, Florida could be frisky.
That they're
Sellers
October.
could maybe do enough against South Carolina,
They're October. It's tough.
A&M. Even though it's
Yeah,
at least they got some of these at home, so that's why I can't like feel super great. But going to Ole Miss, even right, like they play pretty well at Vaught Hemingway, unless they're favored to win the SEC. So yeah, so that could be not necessarily a gimme, even if they're not as good as maybe they were last year, Ole Miss. But yeah, no, I get where you're saying. If you're putting them in the I think they can win the SEC, then I definitely think they're a pretender. But I don't think
yeah,
it's going to go like catastrophically wrong,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. Uh, okay. Pretender for you.
I mean, I don't know that I have anyone else because I don't really think anyone has the potential to win the SEC beyond
Yeah,
this, right? Like,
yeah,
beside, like, I don't think there's like a team that's like, oh, they should, beside LSU, where people are really giving them a shot.
yeah.
Um, I could tell you a pretender of like, I don't think Ole Miss is the seventh, eighth best team in this league. I know that's not even like a high mark, but I think they're probably a little bit overrated to where they are. I mean, you feel probably the same about Auburn as well. Tennessee, like if you're looking at like the
Oh,
middle of the
well,
pack where people think could maybe make that jump, I don't think they will.
yeah. I mean, I'll just jump. I mean, if you think that Tennessee is a middle of the pack SEC team this year, I mean that you just haven't paid attention to the transfer portal pretty much. Like
Yeah.
let's just get that out of the way. Tennessee, when we this is where I have to scroll down uh to fully appreciate who all they lost, which does not pay me at all to mention it. Let's see. Tennessee, who did you guys lose? Obviously, you lost Nico. You lost your SEC Player of the Year running back. You lost 3 starting wide receivers, including Squirrel White, and you lost 4 starting linemen. Josh Heupel, bad luck to you, buddy, this year. Bad luck. Yeah, dregs of the SEC for sure.
Dark horses.
Hang a banner for throwing the goalpost in your dumbass river, and hang a banner for sending 35,000 people to Columbus to watch your team get absolutely boat raced by the Buckeyes. Hang banners for that, because that's the only banners you're gonna be seeing. Does not feel like 96 or anything even close to it. Maybe 1896, you garbage truck convention, puke orange losers. Onto that. Dark horses. EJ, would you like to start us off on the dark horse train?
Yes.
A lot of dark horses and pesky teams in the SEC.
And
Tennessee and Auburn, not one of them. But go.
no, and this is a team, and we talked about this in person. It really pains me to say this.
Oh, I hate it. Hate it so much.
Hate it. and it's gonna make for a fantastic Red River rivalry. But I think Oklahoma is a team. I think Venables has them probably the best team he's had so far at Oklahoma. Um, I will say, even last year, that defense, amidst the offensive turmoil and the changing of quarterbacks and the injuries, I mean, at one point, they didn't even have any receivers to go out there and catch a ball. That defense still fought hard and was ranked, I think, top 10, top 15 nationally, even through knowing their offense wasn't going to do anything. Um, but now this is the chance, right? So now it's like, okay, you brought in an air raid, rising star offensive coordinator from Washington State and Arbuckle. And not only, Arbuckle helped Bailey Zappi, shatter all of the FBS records and whatnot at Washington State, because that's obviously what the air raid is known for out there. But I think coupling Arbuckle with a Washington State transfer in Mateer, who also had a good year on a bad team, I think that's big because it's someone that's already familiar. I don't know if it says here, but I imagine they were probably there at the same time, right? So um, it's just a match made in heaven for them. From that standpoint. Then you add Jaden Ott, who was fantastic at running back for Cal, and that was a bad Cal team. I think that's huge. Again, combined with the other top rated running backs they have in that room, but it's just enough. So then you have a experienced quarterback, experienced in your air raid offense, and now it's like the second year of installing that offense, and then you add Ott to it. That's a big deal. The receivers, they definitely lose a few, but they bring experienced ones, including a returning starter to that mix. And again, I think just you can't say it more about Ott and Mateer being on that team. And then you also have an offensive line that is new from last year because there are so many injuries. But they do have, because of the injuries last year, they had young guys that got those experienced reps, and a lot of them are coming back, including an incoming five-star as well and an FCS standout. So I think that's an area where a scheme change is only going to help them with the air raid and not needing to do as much as well. And so I just see that offense as a very improved side of the ball, and then the defense is just Venables is, love or hate him, his
Hate.
defenses at Clemson were elite, and even at Oklahoma, going from Clemson to Oklahoma is makes him a huge fan of of us, huge fans of him, but what he's done is undeniable. He has nasty defenses, had a nasty defense last year, and that defense is just gonna again be nasty. The biggest problem with them is that they play a lot of good teams,
Yeah.
a
Murderer's row
lot.
schedule. Yeah.
Murders row. If they did not have murders row like this, they would probably be a contender, a true
Texas,
contender.
Bama, LSU, Michigan, Ole Miss, Auburn, Tennessee. I know we just said Auburn, Tennessee are
Missouri is
trash.
not like has been a
Missouri's
program
not bad.
Drinkwitz has got had that great. At South Carolina is still
Yeah.
at South Carolina, right? Like,
Beamer ball. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they're gonna have a bad time. They're gonna be really happy to play Illinois State and Kent State. Yeah, it's a bad schedule. Couldn't happen to a better guy. Eat a bag of dicks, Brett Venables. I hate you so much. I hate all your fans. Fuck you. And I hope I consider them more pesky than I do Dark Horse because their schedule is so bad. I just hope that this is a catastrophic failure. But I don't think it's gonna be that. Unfortunately. I do think that they're gonna get some good wins this year. They're gonna be bowl eligible. What is their win total? It's hard to say because
I
they
don't know, but I'm just if I'm going through truthfully the schedule, I think they're beating obviously Illinois State. They're beating Michigan. They're beating Temple. I think they're beating Auburn at home. Penn
Six and a
State's
half's the line.
right. So then you're already at what I think they're probably 5-0 going into the Red River rivalry. And I think that's going to be something where they're obviously going to be up for it. I don't think they're going to be completely overmatched. And then okay, so then you have like Ole Miss who does not play well on the road. You're already at like 6, even if you call Texas a loss. We
Yeah.
already talked about how we don't believe in Tennessee. So then that's already 7. Missouri's even rated further than that. That's 8. And then LSU, we don't believe in like 9. Okay, even if they lose at Bama, um, I mean, South Carolina, like I don't know. All of a sudden, while you're right, they could be pesky. You start to look at who they're going to be pesky to on this list, and you start to realize that it's probably well, they might be better than these teams on this
Yeah.
list. So I
Yeah.
can easily see them losing at Bama and then, maybe losing Texas. And maybe they are that 10-2 team in the SEC that makes the playoff. I don't know. But I can see it. If everything goes well on offense, um, I could see them being
I'm
pesky
gonna
in the playoff, like being that team that's probably not a national championship contender, but a team that could beat a contender if they aren't you
I'm
know,
gonna hammer. Yeah. Absolutely hammer their win total.
yeah.
A big yawn there right at the stroke of midnight. Yeah. I'm gonna hammer their over win total just for my own personal mental sanity. Um, and speaking of which, we might as well get here. Dark horse for me,
Yeah.
another team not thrilled to talk about. At least I like their head coach. Um, it's the cult. It's the cult at College Station. Um, I mean, year two for Elko. I think the biggest thing is can they finish? They absolutely pissed away a super hot start for them with a 1-4 finish. That Notre Dame game was awesome to start the year. Here's some fantastic stats. They return 70% of production on offense, which is number 20. 74% on defense, which is number 7. Top 10 recruiting class and top 10 transfer portal class. Can they be great? Can they finish what they start? I mean, Marcel Reed is going to progress well. Le'Veon Moss is returning from injury, running back. He was on pace for 1,000 yard season last year, and then unfortunately got injured. But if he returns, they're going to be in good shape, especially given that the entire offensive line is back. And it probably will be a Joe Moore winning offensive line. Um, I mean, wide receiver, they're relying on transfers. When you got guys like Concepcion from NC State, you have Craver come from Mississippi State. They have 2 5 stars and four stars. I mean, gosh. Um, Defense, obviously, that's where Elko shines. Like, I mean, we just talked about the offense, but defense, I mean, he is a defensive coach. The defense improves everywhere he goes. And I think honestly, USC fucked over the entire SEC because my goodness, was Mike Elko pissed after they lost the Vegas Bowl? I mean, I think he said something like, "Gosh, the quote is actually so good." What did he say? He said, "We do not understand how to play zone coverage. I won't watch a defense play like this ever again." The amount of gassers that they ran blew a hole in the ozone layer. Yeah, I mean, 74% returning production. I mean, they have some turnover in the offensive line, but when you get a couple of great transfer pool guys in Cersei and Hayes, I mean, they're they're gonna be fine. You have 8 starters returning, you're gonna be all right. There is just so much to like here. The defense is insane. Offensive line's gonna be the Joe Moore Award winner. Assuming that Moss returns from injury well, you got Reed who's gonna take a step forward. I mean, and look at their schedule, man. I mean, they're gonna be 7-0 and they're gonna have like 45 minutes of ball possession. because it's just going to be a bunch of three and outs, and then they're just going to R RTTB or RTDB run the damn ball. Um, yeah, I mean 10-2 for sure. Um, 10-2 is where I have them at. What's their over 7.5 is -170. Guys, this is a 10-win team for sure. For sure. That's insane. Over 7.5. Their line is set at 7.5. Over 7.5 is -170. Guys, I mean, even 9 wins, that's or 8 wins is going to be plus money.
Yeah, I think they're definitely over
Penciled
the
in.
win total for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, this is going to be a very, very good Texas A&M team. It's going to be a lot of time possession for them. They might, I don't know if they track that stat, but I would imagine it might be an SEC record for time possession for this team this year.
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark for myself and I think other people is just the it's not even a question mark, but it's tough for them to play you know, two arguably, three of their top five matchups on the road, right? So having to go to Notre Dame, having a big rivalry game at the end of the year in Austin, right? Like
Hmm.
that's tough. And then even just like as much as we might want to poo-poo on LSU, I mean, Death Valley's still a really hard place to play. And then for me, like, I don't know, while obviously College Station is also equally uh, hard to play, like I like Florida a lot this year. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
but even all of that considered, their win total is fine. Like, I think 100% I'm with you over that. I think what's keeping them from being a contender is just having those, like, especially the two top games, Notre Dame and Texas, both on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like in college football, especially, you have to be that much better than the other team to win on the road. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah. I would not be surprised even a little bit if they're 10-1
No,
going
I
to Texas.
Nah, I would not be surprised at all either,
Yeah.
because, like you said, we know what to expect out of Elko's defense. So this is another team where it's like if that offense can match that,
Yeah.
yeah, they'll
I
be
I,
there.
I mean this just I've just been on the other side of this. When the coach is like, we just don't. When you have a head coach that's defensive minded, and he's like, we don't understand how to play zone coverage. Like, well, buddy, you're gonna learn.
Yeah,
And when you're returning 8 guys
yeah,
like on defense, well, they have a lesson that they are going to learn. And honestly, the offensive line, I mean, they're gonna win the Joe Moore for sure. Yeah, there's a lot to like about A&M. In addition to over their win total, I don't know. Someone in Vegas or FanDuel must hate the Aggies more than me, which I didn't think was possible. Um, but hit that, hit them to win the SEC. They almost went to the SEC championship last year, so you might as well
yeah.
sprinkle that. Definitely put them in the offs. Um, fuck, sprinkle them for the Natty. Honestly, I mean, depending on how Marcel Reed progresses, which he should progress well, why not? You've probably made dumber bets in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make one here. Edmund, other dark horses, or are you in pesky territory?
No, so I'll say I'll put this one in the category of dark horse, and it's because especially in college football, if you get a guy at
We're on the same
quarterback,
page. Yep, we're on the same page. Yeah.
then that can be a game changer. And
Yeah.
Florida, while it's been razor thin for him, and thankfully Napier and his $2 haircuts um was fantastic down in Louisiana.
Dude, is someone
And
upcharging him? When you
well,
say $2 hair,
yeah,
is he getting an upcharge?
yeah, that's an upcharge.
Yeah.
it was bad, and in a place like Florida where there's just it's not only a fertile area for recruiting, but it's a program that isn't afraid to spend money, and one of the best college football stadiums and hardest places to play down in the swamp. Like, he was in trouble, and thankfully,
Oh yeah.
once Lagway got to finally play, he definitely saved his Napier's job. And I mean, the numbers are like crystal clear. They were 6-0 when he started and finished a game. Their offense was ranked 10th out of 68th and fourth in passing. Like, he is young, and so that's what's even more incredible is didn't really have any experience doing any of that. So now that he has that experience, um, he could be scary, scary good.
Let's I want to finish your stat there
Yeah,
because in his six full games, 10th in offense. When Lagway started and finished the game, Florida was number 10 in offense, number 4 in passing offense. In the other 7 games where he either split time or he got injured, they were 50th in total offense, 37th in passing.
yeah,
I think that's a very it's great stat.
night and day.
I wanted to finish that off because like that comparison is stark.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So that's a true freshman, right? So
Yes.
that's what, like, he was obviously very highly touted, but that doesn't always translate, especially as like a true freshman. Like, that doesn't
Hmm.
happen, right? Like, those are like Trevor Lawrence. Like, there's very few guys that do that right away, and he did it. So the fact that he's just even going to be even better this year at like reading defenses,
Yeah.
clearly his name's going to be coming up as far as being like, potentially a first overall pick if he follows last year's 6 games up with, a great season this year. Then they're going to, unfortunately, he'll have to come back a third year, but he'll be in that stratosphere. So
Hmm.
you couple him with another true freshman at starting running back, which had 673 yards, had 5 touchdowns in his first game that he played. Clearly, he's going to be great, and that's in Jaden Baugh. So you're adding him. So you have a dynamic quarterback, a dynamic running back. The receivers, there's definitely more of a turnover there, but Napier went to the portal, got a former All-American and 3-year starter in Sturdivant, who played at both Cal and UCLA on bad teams and still was an All American
Dog.
at one point, and
Dog.
has experience, right?
Hmm.
And then he has a couple of 5-star receivers to pair with that in this recruiting cycle. So,
Yeah.
and then experience at not only tight end, but the biggest thing is the NIL was able to keep 2 offensive linemen from leaving to the NFL. And so they're
Hmm.
returning 5 starters. And one of them got All American at center. And like I said, the two players that were going to go to the NFL, Jake Slaughter and Austin Barber. It's an offensive line that was, I would say, like, average, but they're expecting to get a nice bump into
Yeah.
the above average area. And then again, you're coupling that with a lot of star potential at receiver, potential like superstar at quarterback and
Hmm.
running back. The biggest thing for me why they aren't a contender is the defense, right? So
Hmm.
while their defensive line is going to be again stacked because they were able to keep 2 future
With the
NFLers from,
NIL money. Yep.
right,
Hmm.
with
Yep.
NIL money from leaving. I think the line is going to be very, very good. It's when you get to the linebacking core and then really specifically the secondary, that's where they were terrible last
Hmm.
year. I think what finished 101 in explosive
Big
pass
plays. Yeah.
defense, like,
Yeah.
no
Not good.
bueno.
Not good.
Um, so that's where they are a dark horse, because even if that number can just get average, this team can get
Hmm.
very beyond pesky, right? They can start to look at a neutral site game with Georgia and go, "You sure about that?" Right?
Hmm.
And then they're
Hmm.
avoiding Alabama. They have Texas at home, right? And that could be a night game. So you start to see, like, it starts to, okay, these guys can finish second or third if that, especially pass defense can just even get to
Yeah.
average. But yeah, so that's why I
But
have them as a dark horse to me because of that
yeah,
offensive potential.
they could also finish 6-6.
Oh,
They can finish Texas
1000%.
second. Yeah. I mean, it depends on how healthy DJ can stay, right?
Hmm.
You know, if he is well protected, returning forward their stars on the offensive line is huge. Yeah, I mean, gosh, guys, when the season started last year and Miami just absolutely force fucked Florida, like the athletic director saved Billy Napier's job. And then
Yeah.
the NIL did what it did to help keep a lot of these guys. Um, Second biggest question mark team for me behind Georgia in the SEC. Um, Obviously, yeah, I mean, but they also have higher ceiling than Georgia because of the quarterback in Lagway. You know, because of Lagway being who he is. I, yeah, I'm with you. Dark horse for sure. Like this Florida team a lot. There's a lot to like, but there's also a lot that like, gosh, if things go bad for them early,
Yeah.
I don't think that
It could
AD's
snowball.
sticking his neck out again. Yeah, I think it's the same. I think that it's the same situation as LSU, where if things go bad early for them, um, it's gonna be a big problem. So, but I do really believe in Lagway, and I'm buying more into the hype here than I am with LSU.
Yeah.
And I actually think that they're talking about Georgia and potential being the number one word for them, even more so. But for Florida, their ceiling is higher, their floor is also lower.
Yeah.
So we will see. We will see what happens with the Gators. Um, for me, the rest of the SEC, it
It's not worth the national ranking that they're getting. We can
yeah,
say it. It's okay.
yeah. I mean, you know, Ole Miss, Lane. I love Lane Kiffin. He's the portal king. Um, he's just losing too much. It's just a down year. When you build your program around that, it's a down year. We talked about. I'm not even gonna talk about Auburn. Fuck you, Hugh Freeze. Um, get dunked on, you big dumb idiot. Enjoy your tea times while you lose recruits. Uh, we talked about Tennessee. Just absolutely too much production to replace. South Carolina, I mean, man, so fun to watch, especially last November. So exciting. Um, they just lose too much and they don't have the recruiting uh or the transfer portal to replace it.
Yeah.
Love Beamer ball. Love the Cox, but it's gonna be a hard season for them. Mizzou is the only thing I'll say that I think people forget how good they were, how close they were to being in the SEC championship last year.
Yeah.
But now you need a new quarterback, you need a new receiver, you need a new offensive line.
Right.
You're in bad shape there. Um, and the rest of it, like, oh boy, hogs. Oh, Vandy, Pavia. There's a little bit more tape on you now, buddy.
Yeah.
Wonder what's gonna happen. And then but you know what? The Vandy's not the dregs of the SEC. The dregs of the SEC are for sure
The
Kentucky
Bulldogs.
and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. So cats and dogs is reigning on the cats and dogs.
All right. Let's hear it. Let's get to our championship game and our picks.
Championship game for me, Bama, Texas, and yeah, it's gotta be Texas.
Okay.
It's gonna be Bama versus Texas, and the Horns are gonna pull it out. Yeah,
All right.
Arch Manning's too much.
Texas and Georgia. So I think Alabama and Georgia are a Spider-Man meme. And I'm giving the edge to that game being in Athens.
Hmm.
That's it. That's it. I really think they're very similar with the same potential ceiling and floor. It's just which one's going to figure it out before that game, right? Who's going to figure it out? And I think that game is literally it. If Bama goes in and wins in Athens, then they are definitely in the championship game, and then that would even make me think they could have the chops
Mhm.
to beat Texas. But as of now, given what I know, it's going to be a fantastic game. I just looked at the date. We won't talk about that, but that's interesting as well. It's going to be awesome, and I think the winner of that plays Texas. I think the winner of that loses to Texas. And in this case, because it's in Athens, I'm going to take Georgia. So I'm going to take Texas beating Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Oh, oh boy.
I don't know the time of that game though. Hopefully that timing
Oh,
is
it's definitely not going to work out. They're both gonna be night games. That sucks. Uh, that sucks for me personally.
we'll
Okay.
figure it out. We'll come up. We have time to plan. We'll figure it out. Even if we gotta like
I'm gonna
make
need to
sure we're
get. I'm gonna need.
charged and have a service and figure out
If there's anyone who's a nitty kitty alum who happens to have a box, I'd love to talk to you guys about what you're doing on September 27th. Okay. All right. Okay.
yes. So yeah, that's what I got. I got Texas over Georgia, but I think that's a coin toss. I'm giving the winner because it's they play each other and it's in Athens. That's it.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a great game, and I think this is going to be a fun SEC because I do think those teams that we talked about that we have dark horses are gonna if the contenders aren't careful, they could drop one to one of these dark
Absolutely.
horses.
Absolutely. That's right. I agree. I think there's a lot of money to be made in the SEC. I think when you look at the gambling, I think that win totals, um, even like just the odds for you could probably sprinkle that the right way for who's going to win the SEC and get into the playoffs. I think there's a lot of money to be made. So definitely take a look at that.
Yep,
Um, anything else? Final thoughts.
that's it.
All right.
Wait, please join us next week when we break down both the bigs, the Big Ten and the Big 12, and make our playoff predictions. And then in 2 little weeks from this being released, we'll already be at our first trophy. It's already going to be back. College football's already going to be back. We're going to do our pick 'em challenge. We're going to have our first Tales of the Trophy, which is a fantastic one to start off the gate. Trust me on that one. We're back. For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.